close.
Yeah.
Hi folks, this is Dr. Kat Schreier, your water mobile journalist. Be in the know with the Wawa Mojo at thewatershow.org and watercitizennews.com. And I am here with JaNell Cook, who is one of the absolute greatest leaders I know in the industry. She has been a real mover and shaker in consulting in the water sector.
Yep.
And so you're now at HDR. Oh, did you? Is that right? The city? Are you in Belgium? No. You're in
I'm in
California.
Walnut Creek. Yeah.
Yes.
Walnut Creek, California. I run our West Water Business Group, so it covers everything from Montana over to Alaska, down to Hawaii, back over to New Mexico, up around Colorado and Wyoming, because that's in the central. So it's about 560 people and a $160 million business.
Wow. So you were one of the panel, and I'll come around here so we can see a little better. You were one of the panel for the Diversity Committee and Member Inclusion panel on women water leaders.
Yes, I felt very honored to be a part of that. Thank you.
Yes, and it was really wonderful to hear your story of how you got started and what your career path was like. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I shared that I chose my first job based on the fact that I could move to Las Vegas and play softball year round, because I've always played sports. So it's not really about
and that's something we have in common,
right?
And a lot of women in our fields, we're used to doing things that women don't typically do, like sports.
So I love team sports, but what I say is I got 34 years of experience in 17 years in Las Vegas, because everything was moving so fast, and if you wanted responsibility, all you had to do was raise your hand. So I feel very privileged that I got to really work with great people. I mean, Pat Mulroy was running SNWA. She had a great general deputy in Kay Brothers, who's since passed away, which I'm very sad about. And really just great organizations with a lot of really strong women were allowed to really excel here in the Las Vegas Valley.
Yeah, and that's something I think I saw also in Colorado, that maybe it's a Western frontier mentality thing, that if you work hard, you get your work done, and you make things happen, they can overlook the little gender difference sometimes. And
I shared a story of my first mentor was Lorraine Pound, who's an incredible engineer. She's very technically great, great project manager and great client service manager. So she just had all these skills. And I really didn't know it at the time what having a sponsor meant, but one day the CEO came to my desk and asked if I could go to lunch. And at that time we didn't have Outlook calendars, so I'm dating myself a little bit there, but
they just show up.
They just show up and say, hey, you want to go to lunch? But then he shared with me that Lorraine had shared with him how great I was doing and how good I was, and that I really had a great future, and so he wanted to know what I wanted to do with my career and how to best put me on projects so that I could really succeed. So that was really the first time that I got to experience having a sponsorship in my career, and I really came to understand how important that is.
And you also shared a story, and we talk about team sports, and water is a team sport, and I think part of that, when we have situations, little Me Too moments, we might call them, there might be some hesitation to share those stories, because we want to be part of the team, and we're one of the boys, and we don't want to cause problems or seem like a troublemaker or something like that. But you're okay with being a troublemaker.
Yes.
But no, seriously, share the story of what happened with your promotion.
Yes, so I was running our company's business development for the Las Vegas area, and our business unit leader got the opportunity to go work on a design build job, which was really the first time the design build delivery types were being considered. So he took that opportunity because that was an opportunity to really be on the cutting edge. But it left a vacancy, and so the regional director asked me if I wanted to be the business unit leader, which was in itself kind of a shock, because I was 35 years old, I was young, and I was a woman. So I went to the corporate headquarters, interviewed, everything went really well, came back, and he called me into his office and said, okay, we're going to offer you the position. But then he said, and I said, I was ecstatic. I was like, all right, what's the details of the new role? Like, what's the salary? What does it encompass? And said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to try you out and see how you do, and then if everything works out all right, next year we'll make the salary whole. And I was just fuming. I was just crazy mad about that, and I just, without even thinking, said, look, I don't try out. Men don't try out, I don't try out. And I left the office and went back, probably sat at my desk and stared at my computer, maybe even shed a tear or two. The next day he came in and he goes, look, I really want you to understand that you're right, that was an awful thing to do, and we're going to give you the appropriate salary. And it was way more than I expected, actually, when he offered the new salary to me. So it's really important to know your value and to really stand up and not try out. I mean, they always assume that men can just step into the role and do it, and they're always very concerned about whether women are going to be able to do it or not, so they want to try them out. Yeah. That's not okay, in my book.
Yeah, and and I think we're seeing this, that women in leadership, it's not a pipeline issue anymore.
Yeah.
We're getting the degrees. We're in the same the Title IX generation, the Earth Day generation.
We're getting the middle management.
We were inspired to save the planet or whatever, and at a time when we were allowed to take science and engineering and all those classes, and we're getting the degrees and we're getting in.
Yeah.
We're the data collectors, we're the model runners, we're the report writers.
Yeah.
Maybe we get to do some middle management, but when it comes to those top spots, unfortunately, that's sometimes where the knives come out. That's sometimes where things get, the members of our team, the members of our family.
Right.
And that's why I think it can be a little of a shock. It's not the 20-something, 20-year-old Hollywood nymphet being chased around the casting couch. It's, wait, did that just happen?
Yeah. Well, and I think companies are really doing a much better job at understanding that whole pipeline issue is not the issue now. They're just, I think, having a sponsor at the executive leadership table who's really guiding your career is really important. And I don't think we always think about that. So it's really think about who's your sponsor, who's making sure your name gets tossed into the hat when names are being tossed around for the new roles. And that's happening. HDR is an incredible company. I'm really happy to be here. And I think all of the companies and obviously in the public sector, you're seeing a lot more women in leadership positions, general managers, on councils, on committees. So
and especially I think we are seeing a little more of that on the public side, because they need to think about those things as public agencies. We're starting to see more on the consulting side, although there's still employee-owned MNQs, although there's these mergers now, and then there's turf wars, and
which leads less positions actually at the top. So it flattens out organizations. So it really is important to make sure you have a sponsor who's helping make sure your name is part of the talking points at the table.
Now, as far as strategy on how to handle those meetings, being able to come to AWWA, being a part of the diversity and member inclusion committee, being able to connect with other women leaders, how valuable is that? How often do you call someone up and say, if you can't talk to your boss, because your boss is the one that just put his foot in your mouth, and
having a kitchen cabinet, if you will, or some sort of table of folks that can help you think through and talk through ideas. Equal peers that may not be in your organization. They may be in another organization or a client, or even in a totally unrelated business. But being able to think through those business opportunities and come up with ideas and your strategy around moving through the organization and career path, and let people know what you want to do. I mean, a lot of times people make assumptions because there's vacant space there and they don't know. So make sure that your organization knows where you want to go and what your goals are.
And how to push without pushing too far.
And
that you set me up beautifully for the fact that we are getting ready to roll out our online water leadership circles, small groups of folks from all over the country. You have to travel anywhere, on a facilitated peer mentoring, essentially.
Great.
And masterminds and master classes.
Is it an actual mentoring circle from the mentoring circle group?
No,
Okay.
it's not. It's not an AWWA thing.
This
is a water citizen thing.
Okay.
Because we see that as a need. We've been
a
doing
valuable tool.
And so, well, good to hear that endorsement of the idea.
Right.
It's like, and that's what you want to do. You want to come to an event like this so you can throw your ideas out and not just be having them spin in your head and get that feedback. So thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you,
HDR,
everybody,
for your sponsorship. Look at that, AWWA Ace 18 and the amazing JaNell Cook at HDR, and this is Dr. Kat Schreier, your water mobile journalist, be in the know with the Wawa Mojo at thewatershow.org. See you soon.